Security is linked with issue of opportunities. We have a number of youth that are unemployed and they try to find a way to make it. So to me, working on the business environment, particularly to create job opportunity, will be very important for these people to be occupied and not thinking of stealing or doing things like that. That is for the petty crime, if you want. But then I also think that it's important to have a good relationship between the federal government and the state government to look at the system in a more integrated way, because it takes all the pieces to be together to create an environment that is safer.
Excellent. Now, we also spoke a lot about unemployment, and you just mentioned it now, and we've come to understand that a lot of employment does take place, but it's in the informal sector, which then doesn't have an overall effect on economic growth. How best can we harness the informal sector to see the kind of employment improvements and economic growth that we need to boost our African cities?
Okay. First of all, I think that the informal sector contributes significantly to economic growth. In fact, there was this example that somebody was saying, how come we see that people live with less than $1 a day and then they are able to use their phone, which is more than $1. So a lot can be done. First of all, I would say in the investment climate, to create the condition to develop small and medium enterprises. One very simple problem here is that how do you get a land title that will allow you to get credit, for example, from the bank? And if you can work on this element, then you can facilitate the creation of SMEs. And these people who are in the informal sector can move into the formal sector, at least gradually. The second, I think, is to equip them with the appropriate skills. One, for example, area where I see a lot of activity is construction. And I was discussing with a few entrepreneurs. They said, to have a good plumber, to have a good carpenter is very difficult. So I think that working not only for the ones that are out of school, to provide them with technical skills will help, but also working on the skill for those that are in school that will help significantly. So these are the two ideas that I see that will allow bringing this. And thirdly, I would say organizing markets. For example, what I see people selling 10 kilos of yams, another 10 kilos of yams. Recently, I went in the outskirts of Abuja to see women producing shea butter. You know that shea butter is a major ingredient for cosmetics. So how can we help these producers organize themselves to produce more and then try to establish the linkages between the formal sector and the informal sector? As we were saying, we have quite a lot of people in this city. I was saying, assuming that they spend $1 a day, it's already for 10 million, minimum 10 million to spend a day. So it's just organizing, networking, the relationship on all these industries in an orderly fashion. And I think that we will see the opportunities, in fact, blossom even more. In fact, last week, I met the entrepreneurs, and you see the optimism, despite the fact that, they are outlining these major constraints. And let me maybe mention this one in power sector. I visited a lady in an area where the World Bank helped develop the power network. She said that before that, she used to pay 1,000 naira per hour to run the generator to manage her hairdresser salon. Now with power, she only pays 2,000 naira a month. So if you see the difference, so I think that there are so many opportunities to support, the informal sector, to allow them to grow, but that requires, as the governor has mentioned, some planning and see how to link all the pieces.